Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new analysis. Before uploading this video I went back and uploaded the outtakes from the video essay and the manga analysis. Outtakes for those two videos as well as outtakes for this analysis are available for free on my website, links in the description. Welcome back to a regular analysis. Now you might wonder, since my last 5 analyses were all done in that order to build up to my last video essay, you might be wondering if this analysis is the beginning of another bout of research for another video essay. Well, not really, no. I have an idea as to what I want my next video essay to be, but for the meantime I'm just going to get back into more analysis. Like this one, as suggested by Terrell Roke, Elite, and Colfreda Legend, Cold, based on the manga's 8th chapter and can be seen in episode 4 from 11 minutes and 10 seconds. The story begins with the show's first introduction of 100% Unrequited Love. Nishikata watches it contently with the air conditioner blasting in his room. The show depicts a young blonde high school girl deriding a tall red-haired high school boy for picking on her so much. The red-haired guy tells her that it's nothing while looking suave, which the young girl swoons over. The boy puts his hand on the wall the girl is standing by and gets closer to her, asking if she really minds this kind of stuff. The girl cannot respond, but instead thinks in her head, "Kyun," which the subtitles translate to squeal. But after having seen Digibro's video on the problem with subtitles, which you should totally check out, I decided to look into what the word actually means. And after several attempts to get the spelling right in Google Translate and having the word translate to itself, I found out from the Japanese Videocast website that Kyun is a description of the feeling you get when your chest tightens. I'm not going to provide a link to this website because it is plagued with pop-ups and dodgy script. Get your act together. I guess it would be hard to translate this description with a single word, but could you not have picked a word that made a little more sense, like swoon? Anyway, Nishikata watches along with a sense of excitement, clearly using this show where a guy makes fun of a girl as a form of escapism. However, if I go into the significance of 100% Unrequited Love in this video, we'll be here all day, so I guess I'll discuss it in another video. Right before cutting to the title card, we see the air conditioner again and hear Nishikata sneeze. The next day we see Takagi sitting in class alone without Nishikata beside her. She looks lonely and somewhat upset until she hears the door open. Nishikata walks in and says good morning to his teacher with a surgical mask on, likely to prevent anyone else from getting sick. Not that wearing a mask means anything when he takes it off as he takes his seat. Takagi asks him if he has a cold, and Nishikata in response wipes the sweat from his forehead in an exaggerated manner and tells her that it is nothing. He then congratulates himself on pulling off a move that was used in the clip of 100% Unrequited Love that we saw. Takagi seems a little weirded out by this, but then says that he's probably late because he stayed up watching 100% Unrequited Love. Nishikata loses the confident facade he was wearing and replaces it with a face of surprise and dread, as he wonders how she knew. He goes to deride her for being too loud, but Tanabe-sensei throws a piece of chalk at Nishikata and yells at him for being too loud. Now, I figured that the whole chalk throwing thing happens in far more anime than this one, and I was beginning to wonder if it was a common occurrence in Japan or if it was purely an anime trope. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer here. All I could find was a long list of examples on TV tropes and a few testimonials online. Those being from people saying they knew teachers who had done this, but they were particularly strict and or old-fashioned ones. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to be a common practice, and I know it's probably something you'd lose your job for in the West. Takagi laughs at him, but as he goes to tell her off for being mean, he begins coughing. Takagi asks if he is okay. He says it's fine before thinking to himself how ruthless Takagi is for teasing him even when he's sick. However, he thinks to himself that he has a plan. The only other thing I wanted to point out in this shot specifically is the look of conflict on Takagi's face. Really nice attention to detail there. Nishikata remembers the night before when he saw a certain part of 100% Unrequited Love, particularly a scene where the woman approaches the man determined to tell him off, but he strikes a pose and tells her that she is cute. This leaves her speechless, only thinking Kyun once again. The only thing I want to point out here is the way this guy has his hand on his face. What is it with 100% Unrequited Love and using the rock and roll hand gesture? It was used most blatantly in the cooking scene we got to see in Room, but even earlier in this episode he was making a similar hand gesture. I even went back to shopping to make sure it doesn't appear there either. Maybe if I zoom in this enough I'll see— oh god damn it! Nishikata decides that telling Takagi she is cute as a counter to her next teasing attempt will be the perfect way to get back at her. Takagi seems to be irritated, likely wanting to tease Nishikata and getting one of those sweet Nishikata trademark reactions. However, just as she goes to call his name, he has another coughing fit. She turns to face forward and shakes her head. She peers out the side of her eye to see Nishikata in his pose ready to spring his trap. Whether she knows what he's doing or not, she clearly wants to tease him. but instead slaps her hands on her temples to keep herself facing forward. Nishikata asks what's wrong, but Takagi tells him that it is nothing. 10 minutes pass and Nishikata is wondering why she isn't trying to tease him. He then realizes that perhaps she has worked out what he is trying to do from the pose he is making, so he stops making the pose to see what will happen. He sits normally for a while and still nothing happens. He wonders what she is up to and estimates that she would have teased him at least 3 times by now. It is at this point that he looks to her again, but this time he begins to think about how Takagi, when shit's quiet, is kind of... He isn't able to finish the thought before Takagi looks back at him. He looks away embarrassed and Takagi gives him a friendly smile and goes back to her schoolwork. Nishikata grabs his shirt and can hear his heart beating hard. It is at this point that he realizes his plan to tell Takagi she is cute isn't going to work because there's no way he could ever say something that embarrassing, clearly becoming aware of the golden rule. There is no way for Nishikata to win that will not also leave him a loser. He draws up this oversight to his sickness and lack of sleep. Takagi sees him struggling and asks if he is okay. Nishikata says that he is. Takagi points out that Nishikata is bright red. However, for what is possibly the only time in the show, she brings this up to express concern for Nishikata other than to tease him about it. He tells her again that he is okay, but she persists in pointing out the ways in which he is acting odd. Nishikata, who appears to be feeling bad for worrying Takagi by this stage, explains that the cold isn't even all that bad. They just used it as an excuse to be late, given that he had slept in that morning. Takagi asks one more time if Nishikata is really okay. He says that he is, which gets a very happy reaction from Takagi, who says if that's the case, then she can tease him again. Nishikata is surprised by this and goes on to explain that he was teased more than usual for the rest of the day. The story ends with the main character from 100% Unrequited Love saying her signature "Kyun Kyun" line. What I believe many people find interesting about this story is Takagi's reluctance to tease Nishikata when she believes that he may genuinely be sick. And this is a really good reason to dig into this story. This is one of the many instances people use when discussing whether or not Takagi is a bully, which is something that I considered making a video on, but then I found one by No Shape that basically covers everything I would have, far better than I could have. Go check it out if you haven't already. But what really makes this story special to me is the moment when Nishikata is staring at Takagi, which makes him appreciate her on a level that he only appreciates her on a few times throughout the show. There is this great irony in the show. Takagi wants to be with Nishikata, but it is her consistent teasing that prevents this from happening. If Nishikata wasn't constantly on guard and analysing every little interaction between the two, maybe he would have properly fallen for her by now. I mentioned last week that someone asked me to do a fan theory on how Takagi and Nishikata will get together, and if I do make that video, then this is certainly an aspect I will be exploring. This is the 3rd time I have teased a potential future video in this analysis. What am I, the DCEU? Anyway, that is it for this week's analysis. Remember to check out the notes and outtakes on my website, links in the description. Also, if you want to see the films that I write and direct, you can see them on my parent channel, Big Joe Productions. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.